everyone, my name is Evelyn Hernandez and I'm here to discuss with you professional dispositions as they pertain to education. Our UNV 501 assignment description of professional dispositions describes professional dispositions as the values, commitments, and professional ethics that influence behaviors towards students, families, colleagues, and communities and affect student learning, motivation, and development, as well as the educator's own professional growth. Some professional dispositions that have worked for me in my classroom and that I use regularly are the respect of the diversity of my students. I always make it a point to get to know who my students are in and out of the classroom. I believe that knowing who the child is as a whole outside of the four walls of a classroom is very important for their success. I also make it a point to know their home life and how they learn. Everybody learns differently, everybody has a different learning style, and knowing theirs is my main priority. Also, having respect for every student's different culture and, like I said, their home life is very important. And not just at the beginning of the year getting to know what that is, but also maintaining that knowledge and that interest throughout the entire year. Another professional disposition that I use is reflection. I make it a point to pencil in going into other teachers' classrooms and observing how they do things, and to see if maybe the way I'm teaching something is, if it's not working for my students, I need to see somebody else's perspective and how they teach. So that kind of keeps me fresh. It keeps me with a mindset that I can still have some growth in different areas. I also like to reflect on my students' assessments and my data. I like to see what worked, what didn't work, and go back to the drawing board if I have to. I often have to change assessments for a particular number of students and scaffold whatever I'm teaching so that it meets their needs. Advocacy is also a disposition that I use and that I'm successful at. I always make sure that my students know that I am their advocate, and not only in their learning, but their advocate in who they are. I always take the time to understand students' issues and concerns in and out of the classroom, and I actively try to build positive relationships with them. A disposition that I tend to struggle with is fairness, and not because I can't build relationships with my students, but because sometimes engaging with students in conversations beyond the classroom regularly becomes a challenge because of time. You know, the way that the curriculum is written, you're teaching every single moment of the day, and sometimes you're playing catch up. You know, you have to be so flexible in the classroom because so many things can happen. And so sometimes I feel like some of my students don't always get to speak, their mind or get something off of their chest. And so that always that's a struggle for me. I have to work on how to make that happen for them. Another thing with fairness is sometimes the assessments aren't written for every child and how they learn. So sometimes it's difficult to have to write different assessments for every kid. So it is very important. It is a struggle for me to keep up that fairness when in regards to assessment. Also, I feel like sometimes our curriculum is not written for the curious mind of a child. It is very standard driven, and it's not always lenient to their curiosity and thinking outside of the box. I try to do as much inquiry-based assessments and inquiry-based teaching and learning in my classroom as much as possible, but sometimes with the time, like I said, it's nearly impossible. An educator should always walk into a classroom and work in a classroom with the mindset that they are not just teachers, they're also learners. You're learning who your students are, who they are as people, as students, how they learn, where they come from, like I said, who they are. And they need to, and learning about their likes, their dislikes, who their friends are, who their friends aren't, what they're interested in. So we're always, just as much as we're teachers, we're also learners. Some standards that a teacher should abide by when they walk into a classroom is that students need to know and feel that you're committed and invested in who they are. Always maintain a professional relationship with students, administration, parents, and colleagues. Express investment in your profession as a teacher, and you know, do some extra duty, work some Saturday school, you know, try to invest in your profession. Students are always going to work for you if you are working for them. Also, teachers should always keep in mind that students are the priority and always believe that all students can learn. Thank you.